Ladies and gentlemen, from Starwatch Wolverhampton, come to ticket present free from the rounds in the amateur welterweight division, sponsored by AC Electrical. And with the record making his debut, weighing in at 77 kilograms, representing land-based MMA, from Dudley, John Reed. And his opponent fights on the blue corner, the record 2 wins and no defeats, weighing in at 77 kilograms, representing Syndicate Martial Arts in Walsall, Josh Kirby. The referee judge is Harvey Howard.
Josh Kirby fighting out of the blue corner in the black and white Simkin trunks, putting his 2-0 record against the debuting John Reed, fighting out of Len Bates MMA in the black trimmed with red RD trunks. 3 3-minute rounds, Brad. Here we go.
Yeah, more amateur welterweight action on deck here. Bit of an interesting situation just before the fight, Steve. There was an issue with John Reed's wraps. He had his wrists and palms wrapped, which of course is not in keeping with regulation, so he's had to take those off. Caused a bit of a delay to the start of the fight here, and as a consequence, he's fighting without ham wraps here.
Well, a quick start as well on his feet. Looked to be a little more aggressive. Now got that body lock and just ragdolls his opponent to the ground. Yeah, and if you look how he's pinned the arm, he's pinned his opponent's arm to his back while in side control. This could open up, if it was pro, those elbows would be flying in by now.
Absolutely, of course, no elbow strikes to the head, body, or anywhere. In fact, under these amateur rules, no twisting locks either. And this is a very strong start from Reed. You know, he looked a little bit pensive on his way to the cage, especially with the issue with the wraps. Kirby, by contrast, came down. His corner was full of beans. Seemed very excited and eager to get in here, and Reed's just put the brakes on him here a little bit.
Well, and Reed, you know, Reed making the fight go where obviously he wants it. He could have stayed in that down position, but didn't stay up, let the referee stand Kirby up, and he just seems a little looser at the moment.
Yeah, just teasing that right head kick, looking very relaxed on the feet. Kirby has the shoulders bunched up a little more tightly, which, you know, can be a you know, forming that shell defense from a boxing stance, but can also indicate maybe a bit of stress, bit of tension that he possibly needs to loosen up a little bit here. If you look at the shoulders of Reed, conversely, they're nice and low. Nice knee to the body there from Reed.
Reed doing well, but is this more a case of kind of a technical brawler versus somebody who's trying to be incredibly technical?
Yeah, very possibly. I mean, one thing that's impressed me so far with Reed is the angles he's getting on his strikes. He's moving well, and he's connecting from some very interesting angles, and it's just giving his punches that little bit more impact.
Again, working.
What's the old cliche? Precision beats power, timing beats speed, and you know, it's a cliche, but cliches are cliches because they're true.
Amen. Again, a top position here, taking his time, just landing a nice shot to the head, but control, and with the 3-minute rounds as well. Oh, looking to finish with some ground and pound, and has he got it under the chin there?
Yeah, he's turned this man here. He's got that one hook in. It's going to be difficult to finish from that position. He's giving it the big squeeze. Kirby looks uncomfortable, but there's no real choke there.
Just a crank on the neck,
and you can't finish with neck crank at amateur. No twisting locks. That applies to you know, the ankles, the spine, and the neck as well. You can't use that face bar for the neck crank. Another beautiful inside leg trip there. Kirby finds himself on top in half guard now, and Kirby really just holding on for the buzzer.
I know we're not judging this, Brad, but I look at a round like that, and you know, 3 minutes is not long, but is that a 10-8?
If there's an argument for a 10-8 round under amateur rules, that's definitely it, Steve. It really was one-way traffic. You know, Kirby looked like he was in trouble. There was threats of submissions on a couple of occasions. I think if it's not a 10-8, then it's very borderline.
Looking at the corner, Kirby doesn't look flustered, doesn't look rattled, listening intently to his corner.
It's a 3-round fight, Steve. You know, losing the first 3 minutes may have no bearing on what we see in the next 6. Kirby could come out and absolutely demolish his man. He could get the flash KO or sneak a submission out of anywhere. That's what makes mixed martial arts such an exciting sport. Anything can, and as we've seen before here at Golden Ticket, frequently does happen.
Absolutely. The seconds are being cleared out of the corners now. We get ready for this second round here at GTFP 8 in this amateur welterweight competition. Here we go. I would expect to see almost a carbon copy from John Reed there. The round don't get much more perfect than that first.
It'll be interesting to understand what advice Kirby's been given. Personally, set up that takedown. Use the punches. Use that length you've got to set up a takedown. Get on top and see if you can affect anything from there. But obviously, his corner team know his capabilities a lot better than we do. And easier said than done from this position.
Nice pick of the ankle there to complete the takedown from Reed, who's now sitting in the guard. What's the open guard?
Well, let's see how Kirby approaches this in the second round. The first round, he took some shots, then took the takedowns. He's been taken down early in this round. His head's probably a little bit fresher. He's just coming off the break. Let's see how he approaches this. Is he going to hang on for the stand-up, which we do see come a little bit more often in the amateur rule set with just the 3 minutes to play with, or is he going to try working for a submission or a sweep from his back here?
He looks relaxed, but doesn't seem to be doing a lot to control Reed's posture, he says, as Reed stands above him. And
being relaxed under fire is a great trait to have, and especially when you enter the pro ranks, there's a lot more weapons involved and a lot more time involved. So just getting the cage time and being in a high-pressure situation is going to benefit Josh Kirby. But there's perhaps such a thing as being too relaxed, and especially when you've got a guy like Reed, who's obviously got a high offensive output, stood in this dominant position. Kirby is going to have to start working soon. He's going to have to put points on the board. Got to watch the up kicks there as Reed comes in.
Managed to get through it and secure side control.
It's a dangerous game to play. We've seen guys have their lights turned out instantly by an errant up kick, and not a great way to lose a fight at all, especially when you're in a position of dominance as John Reed has been for the first 5.5 minutes.
Kirby trying to work from his back, trying to improve his position, but right now Reed staying tight to him, chest to chest, staying heavy, even looking to dig in a shot whenever he can. Control, though, for sure.
Absolutely. This is the third amateur fight for Kirby. Reed making his debut. Looks like he's definitely had some time in the gym, or perhaps some other combative sports under his belt as well.
Nice right hand.
Kirby's back in the fight. Reed shoots for that desperation takedown.
Absolutely, and ends up now. Still clutching that single leg.
Kirby's got to target those shots. He can't strike to the back of the head.
I think the referee was looking there.
Reed shot in for that takedown out of absolute desperation. Ended up getting caught again. Kirby going to work here. He's not going to get the finish. But he's certainly given Reed something to think about going into this third round, Steve.
Reed's eyes are cleared, though, and again, he's maintaining that control and that pressure on top. Yeah, he knows he got caught there.
Yeah, Reed complaining about shots to the back of the head there, and perhaps we'll see in a replay later on, but I have to agree with him. I think, certainly not intentionally, but in that high-pressure situation where Kirby's seen an opening for the first time in the fight and absolutely goes to town on Reed, I think some of those shots perhaps did unintentionally hit the back of the head, but these things happen. If the shots aren't intentional, the referee is obviously going to give it as much leeway as possible rather than interrupting the flow of the fight.
All started with that sweet right hand landed by Kirby is what was. You were saying one shot can change the tide of the fight. It certainly changed the tide of the round.
Absolutely. It was a counter right hand straight down the pipe, and it seemed that Reed just stepped into it to throw his own strike. Kirby looked like he was stepping off to the left and just landed it as clean as you like. And Reed, with those shots,
Reed looked tired and wobbly in between those rounds as he was being treated there. It's gut check time for sure. Does he have the cardio to keep the pressure up that he's been maintaining for the first 2 rounds?
And can Kirby maintain discipline here?
Look, Kirby coming forward for first time that he's taken.
Beautiful straight shots again. 2-piece combination.
And Reed goes to what he obviously seems comfortable with, getting that clinch and the takedown.
Beautiful Haragoshi there from John Reed. And Kirby needs to get to work here, because I've got no doubt about the fact that Reed will be happy to sandbag his man here and run that clock down. But Reed having the fight to keep his man up against the cage. Kirby back on his feet.
Still being pressured into that cage. Oh, did he manage to land there? I'm wondering, you know, is Reed's gas tank going to last the last 2 minutes? Because I think that's the big difference at the moment.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Absolutely, between rounds there. Reed looks tired now. He's obviously got the technique. He's struggling to apply it. Kirby turning up the pressure. Brute force and ignorance here.
And again, the way he's tied him up. Almost desperation with that takedown again. And now full mount from Kirby. And he's starting to land now.
Referee takes a close look and it's over.
And he pulls victory from the jaws of defeat on the judges' scorecard with an incredible finish. The gas tank was the difference, Brad.
100%, Steve. You really hit the nail on the head with that one between the second and third rounds. And Steve, what we were talking about earlier in the fight, this game can change on a sixpence. The gas tank had gone. We saw that beautiful straight right in the second round. A nice combination of a left-right straight down the pipe in the third. All of a sudden, we're looking at a completely different fight and a result that perhaps nobody expected at the end of the first round.
I got to be honest, though. Reed's a kid. You'd like to see this kid fight again. Debut, maybe just a little bit of an adrenaline dump in that first round. Maybe just the pace a bit too much. Fair play, though. Josh Kirby, now 3-0.
And yeah, we can see here on the replays, you know, technically Reed was still all there. He just didn't seem to have enough in the tank to keep that technique up. And Kirby just swarmed him, just monstered him in that third round. Got a very, very high mount. He knew that Reed was too tired to buck out, turned the pressure up, and that's all she wrote.
Great win from the Simkin lad.
Looks like perhaps a bit of trouble with the knee there from Reed. And like you say, Steve, you know, first time out, big stage here, bit of an issue with the gloves going in, perhaps. That threw him off his game a little bit. Who knows? But I'd definitely like to see this kid in here again, see what he can offer, perhaps next time here on Golden Ticket.
Absolutely. Aggressive. You know, arguably could have been 2 rounds up. Certainly it was a round each, if not anything to play for. This was competitive.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Harvey High calls to start the contest at 1 minute and 19 seconds of round number 3. For your worldwide bronze and pound, Josh Kirby! And let's cheer for your runner-up, John Reed.